So you're juggling what feels like a million things, right? And maybe the idea of a virtual assistant just swooping in, handling your inbox, your calendar, it sounds pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. Getting some
Yeah.
breathing room. Yeah,
Exactly. A way to get some time back.
for sure. And the thought of delegating those, admin tasks, it's really appealing.
Yeah.
But then you get that point where you think, okay, how do I actually give them access, especially to Google Workspace, Gmail, Calendar,
Yeah.
security immediately jumps to mind.
Right. How do you do it safely? That's the key.
Mm,
And that's really what we want to dig into today, because there are a few different ways you could do this, but honestly, some are much riskier than others.
definitely.
So our mission here is to guide you, our listeners, through the best way, the recommended way, and also shine a light on the methods you should probably steer clear of. It's all about keeping your info safe and making sure you stay in control.
Well said. Because convenience, it should never really trump your digital security.
Mm.
So let's dive in with what's considered the gold standard, delegation, delegating access.
Okay, delegation. Sounds official, maybe, but it's the most secure, right? That's what the sources say.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. It's secure because you're not handing over your password. You're granting specific, limited permissions. Let's break it down, maybe start with email, Gmail delegation.
Perfect. How does that work?
Okay, so in your Gmail, you'll look for the gear icon, for settings, usually top right, click that,
Uh-huh.
then see all settings. And from there, you're looking for a tab that says something like accounts and import, or maybe just accounts.
Right. Sometimes the wording's a bit different.
Exactly. Inside that section, you should find an option like grant access to your account. Click add another account.
Okay, simple enough so far. And that's where you pop in the virtual assistant's email address.
That's the spot. You enter their email, hit grant access, but there's one more crucial step.
Hold. What's that?
Google then fires off a confirmation email to the assistant. They have to open that email and click a link to actually confirm they want this access.
Ah, okay. So it's a two-way confirmation. They have to agree.
Precisely. It's a key security check. Make sure access isn't just given without them knowing or agreeing.
Makes total sense. Good verification. Now, when you delegate Gmail access, what exactly can you let them do? What are the permissions?
Right. You get choices. The most basic is read your mail. Pretty self-explanatory. They can see and read emails.
Okay.
Then there's send mail as you. This one's really useful. They can compose and send emails from your address, so the person receiving it sees it coming from you.
Oh, that's huge for seamless communication, like they're truly acting on your behalf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very helpful for managing correspondence. Then you've also got delete mail.
For helping clear the inbox, I guess.
Yep, keeping things tidy. And finally, there's manage your Google contacts. So adding new contacts, editing existing ones, deleting them.
Okay, quite a range. It seems really important then to think about what they actually need to do, right? Not just give everything.
Absolutely. That principle of least privilege is key here, and we'll circle back to that in best practices. Grant only what's necessary.
Good point. Okay, so that covers email delegation. What about the calendar? Google Calendar delegation. Similar setup.
A similar idea, but with slightly different steps and nuances. You'll open Google Calendar, find the gear icon again for settings.
Got it.
Then, on the left side, under My Calendars, you select the specific calendar you want to share, probably your main one.
Right.
Then, in the main settings area for that calendar, look for Share with Specific People and click Add People.
Okay, and again, you put in the assistant's email address here.
You do. And once you add them, this is where it gets more granular than Gmail, really. A drop-down menu appears with different permission levels.
Ah, so different levels of control for the calendar. What are they?
The most basic is See Only Free Busy, hide details.
Yeah.
With this, they can see when you're booked, but not what the appointment is, just blocks of busy time.
Okay, so good for basic availability checks without sharing, like, doctor's appointment details or something.
Exactly that. Protects privacy, but allows scheduling coordination. The next level up is See All Event Details.
So they see everything. Titles, locations, who's invited.
The whole 9 yards, yep. They can see all the specifics of your events.
Sure.
Then you have Make Changes to Events. This is a pretty big step up. It lets the assistant create new events for you, edit existing ones, move things around, even delete events.
Right. This feels like the level most VAs would probably need if they're actively managing your schedule, booking things for you.
That's generally the case, yes.
Yeah.
Gives them the functional control they need for scheduling tasks.
And then there's one more level, the highest one.
There is. It's Make Changes, Andy Manage Sharing. This gives them everything the previous level does, Plus, the power to change the sharing settings of your calendar itself, like they could share it with other people.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. And our sources, and I strongly agree, really caution against granting this level. It's a lot of control. Unless there's a very specific, compelling reason and a huge amount of trust, stick to make changes to events at most.
Definitely sounds like overkill for typical VA tasks. Good warning. And just like Gmail, the VA gets an email notification about this calendar access too.
They do. Yep, they get a heads up saying you've shared the calendar and what level of access they have.
Okay, great. So delegation for both email and calendar. That's the recommended secure route.
That's the one. Now, should we talk about the other methods, the ones to be really careful about?
Yes, let's. Because the first one sounds tempting for simplicity, maybe, but the warnings are stark. Just sharing your Google Workspace password.
Oh, yeah. Big red flag here. It might seem like the quickest way, but the security risk is just massive.
Why is it so bad?
Because sharing your password doesn't just give access to email and calendar. It gives access to everything. Your Google Drive files, Google Docs, photos if you use it, all your contacts, potentially sensitive business information stored anywhere in your workspace. It's the master key.
Wow, okay, the whole account.
The entire account. And think about it. If your VA's computer gets compromised, or if their own account security isn't great, suddenly your entire Google Workspace is wide open. It completely bypasses all the security layers.
It's a single point of failure, isn't it?
Exactly. And beyond security breaches, there's accidental deletion, misuse of information.
Yeah.
It's just not worth the risk. A definite no-go.
Okay, loud and clear. Password sharing, bad idea. What's the other less ideal method mentioned?
This one's a bit more subtle. It involves using third-party apps, apps that promise to integrate with your email or calendar to offer some extra features.
Yeah, there are loads of those.
Yeah.
Productivity tools, scheduling assistants.
Right. And many are legitimate, but the danger lies in the permissions they ask for when you connect them to your Google account. Some apps request really broad access.
Like what kind of access?
Things like reading all your emails, sending emails as you, deleting emails, full control over your calendar events, accessing all your contacts. They often use something called API access. And if you grant these wide-ranging permissions, especially to an app you don't fully trust or one that doesn't truly need that level of access for its core function, you're opening another potential vulnerability.
So the key is scrutinizing those permission requests before clicking allow or grant access.
Precisely. You have to ask, does this scheduling app really need to read all my emails or just access my calendar? And is this app from a reputable developer? Granting unnecessary broad permissions is a significant security risk. Data leaks, misuse. It's another potential headache.
Right. Be skeptical. Be cautious with third-party apps. Okay, so avoid password sharing. Be super careful with app permissions. This naturally leads us to the best practices section, the things we should always do, even when using the recommended delegation method.
Exactly. These are sort of the ongoing maintenance steps for security. And the first one we already touched on. Start with the least privilege.
Give only the minimum access needed.
That's it. Don't just grant make changes and manage sharing on the calendar if all they need is make changes to events. For email, maybe they only need to read and send as you, not delete. Tailor it precisely to their tasks.
Makes sense. Keep it tight. What else?
Regularly review accesses. This isn't a set it and forget it thing. You should, maybe every few months or whenever a project ends, go back into those Gmail and calendar settings and check who still has delegated access.
And remove anyone who doesn't need it anymore.
Exactly. If the VA's contract is over or their role changes, revoke that access immediately. Digital hygiene, basically.
Good habit to get into. What's next?
These next two are fundamental for your own account security, always. Use strong passwords and two-factor authentication, 2FA.
Ah, the basics, but so crucial.
Absolutely. A unique complex password for your Google account is your first line of defense. And enabling 2FA, that extra code sent to your phone or an app, makes it significantly harder for anyone unauthorized to get in, even if they somehow got your password. Protect your own account first.
So important. Okay, strong password, 2FA enabled. What about the working relationship itself?
That's where communicate clearly comes in. Be explicit with your virtual assistant about what their responsibilities are, what they are and are not allowed to do with the access you've granted.
Define the boundaries.
Yes. Clear expectations prevent misunderstandings and accidental overstepping. Make sure the scope of their access matches the tasks you've actually assigned.
Good communication prevents a lot of problems.
Sure.
Okay, anything else? There was a mention of creating a dedicated account.
Right. Consider creating a dedicated account. This is sometimes mentioned, but it's usually more relevant for, say, a larger teams within a company where you might set up a specific role-based account, like support@company.com.
I see.
For a typical one-on-one virtual assistant relationship where they're acting directly on your behalf in your inbox and calendar, delegation is almost always the more practical and efficient method. Managing a whole separate account adds complexity.
Okay, so for most listeners thinking about a VA, sticking with delegation and following these best practices is the solid approach.
That's the gist of it, yes. Giving someone access to your core digital tools like email and calendar. It needs careful thought. Delegation gives you that control, that security, without just handing over the keys.
So the main takeaway for everyone listening, really prioritize security here. Understand the options, know the big risks with passwords and broad app permissions, and lean into delegation. And always start with the least access needed.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. We've talked a lot about the how of granting access securely, but it's also worth regularly thinking about the why. Why are you granting this access? Do the needs change over time?
Good point. Reevaluating periodically.
Exactly. And maybe extend that thinking.
Mm-hmm.
In our digital lives now, what other areas beyond just email and calendar deserve this same kind of careful thought about who gets access and how much? It's something we all need to stay vigilant about, you know? The landscape keeps changing.